Okay, I want to have a talk about. Sorry, I want to speak about some things in language acquisition. Why do I say language acquisition and not language learning? It's just a fancier word than learning. Uh, Many learnings happen in a very conscious way. We memorize things, and sure, after many years, those things become part of us. We have this knowledge at our fingertips, but the way we acquire knowledge in geography, history, and whatever has to do with our civilization, sociology, anthropology, happens through reading books, trying to memorize what's there, not word by word, but in a way. And people try to adopt these strategies, this strategy or those strategies, when it comes to language acquisition. And I don't think that works. Obviously, you're going to learn something. How many people, even I, did that. I've done that. How many people quit learning a foreign language because they're overwhelmed, they tread water, they lose their motivation? I'll tell you what. The major problem is that we are being told lies about the time it takes for us to internalize almost like our first native language. Believe you me, even language that you are exposed to later in your life can become almost like your first language. They can even substitute your first language if that happens more or less before you're 20 and you move to this new country and you lose contact with your native language, your mother tongue. I'm learning Russian. This is the Italian method, and believe me, I started learning Turkish, and then for some reason I'm not learning anymore. But I liked. It made me understand many things about language learning and language quitting as well. Is that what Asimov tells us about how long it takes to learn a lesson? Doesn't make any sense. I would say with Russian it's 5 times, 10 times more than what they say. It means that I think, first of all, to completely absorb Russian to a B2 level, from Italian, French, from the point of view of Speaker of the Indo-European language, not Slavic language, so that means Greek, uh, Albanian, Romanian, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, English, Dutch, German, whatever language you speak. Russian is quite hard bone to crack. It's difficult in a different way from Turkish, but it's difficult. The spelling is not exactly phonetical. You have to know where the stress falls, and then whatever doesn't get to the stress changes. It's a bit like English, don't we say banana, we don't say banana. Mother, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. You have record or record, which is more according to the English phonetics. So some languages write in a more phonetical way. The problem is most people read. I don't want to read. I don't want to act to immediately speak the language. It's my approach. I don't believe this approach that everybody has their own approach. You can have some variations, but you know why people nowadays they run, they swim, they jump much faster, much longer, much whatever better than before? Because everybody has their own way, because there are some commonalities, some things, some new approaches. They made athletes more performant, and the same should go for languages. Some approaches are, what is the right word, ancient, no, not ancient, are old, are not effective, and people should keep up with new approaches that produce results. And at the beginning, I spend nowadays 3/4 of the time I'm supposed to learn Russian listening. If I had videos, it would be much better. There's no methods from A to B. That's the origin, a path that goes from A to B, that is progressive and has some structure in it. People don't want to follow me, they want to watch videos on YouTube, to jump from one video to the other videos, where they mostly, in many videos, speak another language. So if you want to learn some languages, just watch videos where they teach Italian to Russian, and small helpful for Italian. Example for Italians who learn Russian. You should abandon a cognitive approach. Assimil as some grammar things. I'm not completely against resorting to grammar, but grammar is something that helps you make sense of something that you were already making sense of. You have the structure, the whatever, and you don't know why, you have some reflexes. You don't know this is adjective or that kind of word end with this kind of word consonant at the end, and you first develop kind of reflex, passive instinct of the feel of the language. That's why native speakers learn. And then, after the fact, you have the grammar explanation, so to speak. Now I'm adopting even a new approach. I listen to the lesson without the notes, kind of 20-30 times. Then I read and watch, and then I read the notes. So I didn't develop when I read on my own many times, many times. I don't have the reflex. I read, and sometimes I read oh, it's not oh, it's ah or I read ye, a, e, so phonetical, not completely. It's not ideograms, but it's not completely one sound, one character. Like Turkish it is no language is 100%. That could be food for another video. The relationship between the spelling, orthography, the whatever, and the sounds of language. But this has an impact on the way we learn. Once I always review what I've been doing, and I do some foray into the new lesson, and in time the new words become more and more steady in my mind. So from not knowing what the heck they mean to okay, no, it means this. I read, so when I read or listen I understand, but I don't remember actively. I cannot actively use the word until I can actively use that word. It takes a long time. This kind of approach is not working if you have a narration, you have to speak a language in 1 year. This approach is not cognitive. You need to be exposed in a meaningful way and constantly to this flux of sounds from that language that you can make sense of. Once you develop kind of basis, and that is kind of difficult to me, it will take at least 1 year. So I understand from the context, because basically I am at a B2 level and I'm not fluent. My accent is not perfect, but I can speak about mostly anything in a very simple way. Okay, I can convey my thoughts, what I want to do, what I'm going to do, what I have been doing, what I did, what you want you to do, my opinion on things. That doesn't mean I don't think after this book, even if I know it perfectly and I've solved it perfectly, I'm not fluent. I think if I do the following method that there is very well, obviously now assimilate is like 90% of what I'm learning. Sometimes I watch very simple videos when they speak about very but just to okay, chill out and do something else. So the main problem is people are not exposed to the sound of language unless you're deaf. Okay, that's obviously if you're deaf, your approach is more reading. But people want to go fast. It's like you don't have, you want to wage war, and it's not a blitzkrieg. Learning a new language is not a blitzkrieg. It's not a flash war. I don't know. It takes time. Maybe that approach can work for similar cognate languages: Italian, French, Italian, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese in a lesser way, degree, Italian, Romanian, or English, German, or Dutch, German, or Ukrainian, Russian, or Belarusian, Russian. It doesn't work. When you learn language, is basically at the beginning a pain in the ass, because believe you me, Russian can be a pain in the ass. But you say, okay, first of all, 45 days ago, I didn't know shit about Russian. I know 3 words: спасибо, вот есть свобода, немира, what is собака, ute privet, ute is Greek, not even. And this kind of talk, I know it sounds counterintuitive. People want to sell you, oh, you're going to learn fast. No, you're not going to learn fast a foreign language. There are thousands of words with an indefinite number of structure, of idioms, of way of constructing the phrase, with words that don't have the matching word in another language that expresses all the nuances of meaning that the word means in that language. My advice is one day at a time, one lesson at a time. Buy a book like I know Asimil can be another one. I know Asimil. It's not the perfect book. A perfect method would be a method with everything video. It would be very costly and whatever. Do it very slowly until you listen to the recording and you understand what they say like it is your bloody native language. People don't want to follow method. People want to spend their time reading and not listening. People want to move forward fast. And that's a recipe for disaster. Even if language with a very difficult structure like Turkish or Korean or Japanese, whatever, you need to go slowly. Russian, you have declinations, you have this phonetical problem. Also Turkish is phonetical for vowel harmony or vocalic harmony. But at least in Russian, in Turkish, it's written. Obviously, when you speak freely, you have to come up with your vocalic harmony immediately. But at least Russian, no. Obviously, if they write like this, it means in the past they pronounce all this o and all this a. Not nowadays. The spelling hasn't changed. That's about the other video about spelling, learning languages, and all the problems. Think that you're like a child learning a new language. learning his or her first language without the help, the aid of reading. Nobody learns their own language before being able to speak. Okay, I want you to say this. Thanks. I will speak more about that. I think it's very important.